The next major topic was objective measurement of the physiological strain. So in this case of objective, sorry. So in this case of objective measurement of physiological strain, as I told you that uh, these methods are based on the understanding of body signals. Body signals may be in the form of biosignals, in the form of metabolism, in the form of muscle physiology, in the form of biomechanics. So these parameters are important to understand in the form of understanding the respiratory system, inhaling and exhaling capacity. So all these parameters are important to understand before applying any method of objective type for measuring or for recording physiological strain to worker or operator or in any general task. So these are some of the methods which are part of the syllabus: respiratory response, cardiac response, EMG, galvanic skin response, and EEG and ECG. So before moving towards these methods, I want to bring you to a small introduction about, sorry, I want to give you a small introduction about what is called as biosignals, because I had talked about metabolism, I have talked about slight muscle physiology, but now I want to give you a very, very brief introduction about these methods, which are nothing but called as biosignals. And these biosignals are very important in physiology or in work assessment and in rehabilitation, in ergonomics, because one way is to simply design the system, and the other way is first understand the level of the problem and then solve the give a solution. So biosignals, as I told you, the mainly what we considered over here uh, is nothing but EMG, EEG, ECG. These three signals we will consider mainly, and then the another thing is what is called as respiratory response, which I will explain separately at the time of considering those physiological measures. Now, what is biosignal? It is any kind of signal that is coming out of body as a information we can take for our understanding, our knowledge. It may be from heart, it may be from muscles, because when muscles contract and expand, you get electrical activity over there due to the excitation of the motor neurons. And these are just because of the movement of the sodium potassium ions. There may be blood pressure, there may be heart rate, there may be electroencephalogram, that is nothing but the signals of the brain, because brain is considered as a central processing unit of the body, and the signals depending upon the compartment of the brain controls the activity of the body and our cognitive activities. So these are many biosignals. Uh, like there may be biochemical signal, for example, analysis of the blood to know the level of the lactic acid or pyruvic acid so that you can know the level of fatigue. Bioelectrical signals may be electroencephalogram, EMG, ECG. Biophysical signals like temperature of the body, blood pressure, bioacoustics, which is nothing but the vibrating signals. For example, in ECG, you might get a vibrating signal as well. Then biomagnetic systems, these are also used nowadays for understanding the, like in MRI or other techniques are developing based on biomagnetic system. Now, the first thing, as I told you that EMG is a biosignals we obtain from the muscle, and it is random in nature. When you see the pattern of the EMG signal, it is nothing but like a random vibration. I'm using this term because most of you are aware about vibration signals. So when we analyze a vibration signal, as we know that every signal has two main parameters. One is called as frequency and other is called as amplitude. How do we analyze? We call it power spectrum analysis or frequency to frequency domain to time domain or time domain to frequency domain, vice versa. We do the analysis to understand the different patterns of the signal which you obtain. So this is a kind of random signal we get over here. And out of this random signal, to understand the amplitude of the signal, what we can do is the first thing we can do is calculate the RMS value so that the effect of negative and positive will be nullified and the amount, the magnitude you will understand. So EMG signal is a biosignal that measures electrical current generated in muscles during its contraction, representing neuromuscular activity. We are calling neuromuscular activities because brain is connected to motor neurons and motor neurons are excited and they create the signal. It depends upon the if the muscle is bulky, will create more signals because more motor units will be recruited. If muscle is thin, it will create lesser amplitude of the signal because lesser number of motor units may be recruited in that particular activity. As I told you that muscle is formed of small fibers and every fiber is like myosin and active fiber. So active fibers contracts and expands, and because of this the muscle contraction and extension activity takes place. Muscle contraction due to the change in the relative sliding of the thread-like molecules called actin myocycles. And myosin remains over there. So that creates a potential. But all those activities comes because of the action potential of the body. Action potential is nothing but the current generated by the body. And that happens when the movement of sodium and potassium ions within the axons. So they tries to enter and then this movement creates a kind of potential in the body from minus 40 from 40 to minus 90 millivolts we see over here. So this is what is the extent potential. So minus when the body is on rest, you see here there is minus 70 potential because of the movement of these potassium ions. Potassium ions goes in and sodium ions goes out, and when there is more potassium ions then they burst out and again sodium ions goes in. So these kind of activities goes on and creating a change in the potential, and that potential is in the range of plus 40 to minus 90 millivolts. So this is a particular approximate range of action potential. This is a graph shown. So this is called as depolarization phase and repolarization phase. So once potassium ions, sodium ions goes in and then gets out, so you get a depolarization, charged up, and when it is extra charged, it bursts out and then other ions goes in. So this is a kind of depolarization and repolarization state where the change in these action potential takes place, and this is the main way how our body gets the currents available. Um, how do we measure these electrical signals is through the electrodes we placed, and we place a gel between silver electrodes so that the movement of the ions is smooth, and we would be able to read the proper signal available on the surface of the muscle. There are two methods for measuring, either through the needle, you can go inside the muscle and take the signal, or from the surface. Surface, it is called as surface electromyography. So this is a kind of signal. Signal gives us two informations. One is amplitude. If you take an RMS value, you can get a curve like this. This shows that you have put maximum effort in this region. So the more force is applied by the muscle was when the signal was very high. But when the muscle gets fatigued, what happens is, if you analyze the frequency of the signal, you came to know that the frequency goes down with the effort, with the effort, sorry, with the effort of muscles, RMS value, or you say amplitude, goes up. But with the fatigue, the spectrum frequency goes down. So what happens? The initial signal may have a frequency range at a higher value, but as the time goes on and you are holding a job, suppose you are holding a 5 kg load, then the frequency goes down. If you analyze the signal after some time, the frequency goes down. That is nothing but an indication of what is called as muscle fatigue. So in ergonomics, this is very important to know how much muscle is fatigued, because in ergonomics, our job is to compare one task which was before the modification and another task that was a modified version of the working style or the workplace design. So in these cases, we can take the advantage of the RMS and frequency spectrum of the EMG signal for comparing two sets of operations. In ergonomics, we cannot get rid of cognitive because many things are dependent upon liking, disliking. Information processing is another area over there. So for that, like information processing in ergonomics, if we talk about subjective method and objective method, then subjective method will be that you have calculated the pace of work, you have calculated the response time, you have calculated the number of errors. But if you want to know the objective methods, you can know that whether the person is feeling fatigued or the person is depressed, person is not in a mode of working, person is getting more pain in the work. So all these things subjectively you can assess, but in objective way, which is not easy to understand, I believe. But there are methods available which is called as electroencephalogram. And this electroencephalogram is nothing but EEG measurement of the brain activities. Depending upon the compartments of the brain, we could know which body part is in action, which body part is in stress, etc. Now, this is how we capture the signal which is of very low magnitude, even lesser than EMG. This magnitude is in microvolts, and those we capture from the skull of and this is because of the excitation of the neurons. This is called as um, the points or electrode placement method, electrode placement method. Here we apply what is called as 10-20-20-10 method. So in this case, we divide these regions in a percentage with respect to one ear to other ear, from forehead to neck. So these are points, nation, Indian, and these A1, A1 and A2, and we divide the whole skulls in terms of particular ratio like this whole curve, 10% of the total distance, this is 20%, this is 20%, this is 10%. But that is just a way. So you can have the idea, this is a frontal view, you can know about your eye movements, etc. This may be about your limbs movement, this may be about your thinking and other activities. So depending on the region from where you are capturing the signal, you can get the information about body. But generally this EEG signal is of this format. There are four basic types of waves which we have standard names: beta, alpha, theta, delta. So these are four frequency ranges of the brain signals generally considered, which have certain frequency ranges. For example, 0.4 to 0.5 to 4 hertz. This is supposed to be a sleeping state. But if in case of sleeping state, we are not having this wave, or we are rather having this wave, it means that the person is not in a comfortable sleep mode. Or in awakened state, the person is not having this kind of wave and having this wave, it means that he is out of the situation. So these four basic categories of waveforms generated from EEG gives us an idea whether the person is stressed, person's activities are in correlation with the physical activities or not. The person is having some kind of problems, like in epilepsy, they have the signal waveform, something like this. So by understand, this is, I know that understanding from EEG signal is not a very simple task, although it gives us a basic idea about what is going on in the brain. So that way we can utilize the understanding of EEG signal for liking and disliking of the task, the understanding about the person standing for a crucial work or not. So these things are possible. So there are many applications in human factors also, which EEG can give us. Then it is electrocardiogram. As we know that when body is in motion, when body is in action, for example, any kind of exercise, any kind of repetitive task, the person's heart rate goes up, BP goes up, but not very much, it goes up high. And then we know that blood circulation, which is very important parameter, but I don't know, it's not easy to measure. It is more towards skin and muscles when in action, when working is going on. So when working is going on, then the otherwise when on rest, at rest, it is towards core parts of the body. For example, intestine, other activities when you are at rest. So blood circulation is also a parameter to know that whether the person is working at what level of the stress. Now, overall, all these heart or cardiac activities, there is a very common and well accepted technique known as ECG. ECG is nothing but placement of uh, getting a signal from heart. So when we get a signal from heart nowadays, uh, initially it was for three leads only placing, then 7 leads, then 11 leads, and now they want to put the leads all around the body, even on the back, because they sometimes assume that this whole heart may be not having a signal on the back side, but having a signal on the right side, a disturbed signal on the front side or on the back side. So this is called as the signal getting over here is called as electrocardiogram. This gives us an idea about blockage as well. These are certain basic parts of heart where blood flows and blood pumps from there. If there is any kind of restrictions, then the this QRST, this is nothing but what we call PQRST wave. PQRST waves. These are nothing but a point PQRST points. So this PQRST wave is disturbed. So if we are not getting this wave, we can see the correlation between this wave, which part is in action and which part of the wave is being disturbed. So if left part is in action, you see the wave PQ is related. For right part, you see RST wave is disturbed. So in that way, we can understand where the blockage is and what activity heart is doing. So heart rate can also be calculated from, heart rate can also be calculated from ECG signal. So ECG signal can give us a heart rate values. This can simply be obtained and also it can be obtained. So there may be many systems working for obtaining the electrocardiogram. There may be 3 lead systems, there may be 7 lead systems or 12 lead systems. So these are basic methods for measuring the biosignals. In biosignals, it is very important to keep what is called earthing to reduce noise, because every signal may be affected by noise, and these noise have to be reduced by putting a earth somewhere around a bony part so that we can have. That's why in ECG or EEG or EMG, all we use a earth wire to earth the unwanted electrical activities makes up with the signal. So this was all from this part of the presentation. Now, after understanding the basics of our biosignals,